So over the Bakhmut front, in the southern flank, Russian forces attack at KLISHCHIIVKA as well as Andriivka. As per mentioned in the frontline changes report, Russian forces geolocated in the southern part of KLISHCHIIVKA makes it very awkward, because the Russian forces have a presence. The other geolocation was artillery hitting Ukrainian positions. Probably the Ukrainians that were trying to escape, and the Russians are trying to bombard it. And I'm not sure where this attack come from. Whichever direction you count is a 2 kilometers distance, so it is a big progress. And depending on where the vector of attack coming from, it may have a different tactical significance. So as a result, I do not want to commit where the attack come from. So I'm gonna wait for more information. But we will definitely leave this polygon here to show that the Russians have arrived in this area here, and then we'll try to look out for which direction the Russians came from. So we move on to the center flank. In the center flank, the Russian forces attack at Ivaniske region. They have expanded control in the south of Novi, capturing the entire forest region all the way to the canal, and they have started to attack into Novi. The attack at Novi is currently still very much on the outskirts. The Russian forces drive all the way up to the edge of the neighborhood and started to do fire attack on Ukrainian defensive positions. The Ukrainians still have forces at Novi trying to hold the settlement, and so it's going to take some time. Despite the Russians have begun the attack, it's going to take some time. Of significance, other than these various geolocation of Russian forces, Russian positions, where the Russian forces are geolocated, Ukrainian forces are getting thermobaric strike, very very close to where the Russians supposedly have presence. So the Russians are throwing whatever they can at Novi, and I think Novi, from my gut feeling, is the most heavily bombarded settlement or region in the entire war right now. So they use thermobaric missiles, airstrike, helicopter strikes, artillery, grads, mortar. They use literally everything they can think of, even the tanks and infantry fighting vehicles. Everything is throwing at Novi. So this is going to be a stupid way and a stupid hill to die on. I'm not sure how long the Ukrainians want to hold this position, because there is decent defensive position, a lot of trenches around here. So, but we shall see. We shall see. Maybe the objective is just to hold the Russians back for as long as possible and see, and try to build up more defenses in the rear positions. Russian forces are also reportedly attacking at Kalinina, which interestingly they keep calling this KLISHCHIIVKA by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So we shall continue to monitor and see. The last time we have reported this, the Russian forces have started to enter into Kalinina, but no more geolocations. We do not know what's the advance in this area here. In the northern flank, we only have reports of fighting over at Orikovo-Vasilivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, which in this report very weirdly they simply call it Vasilivka. So they just dropped the Orikovo. Very, very bizarre. That's all for this Bakhmut front. We move into the Siversk front. The Siversk front, a lot of things happening around here as well. Strategically speaking, Russian forces are attacking at Bilohorivka, over at Bakhmut-Siversk, towards Bilohorivka, towards Vimka, in the area of Rozdolivka and VESELE. So this is the strategic situation. Russian forces are pushing in all directions. And the most significant, of course, is the southern side, over at the VESELE Rozdolivka region. Despite the Russian forces disclaim the previous established front line very close to Rozdolivka, they have claimed that they have taken half of this entire hill region north of VESELE, and they have even advanced very very close to Rozdolivka and taken more high grounds on the western part of VESELE. So this is a very very significant frontline change around this Rozdolivka VESELE region. Particularly this high ground around here is very very strategically important, as they are high grounds, and with this capture in the north of VESELE, Russian forces can now attack into the rear position towards Kuzminivka or Svenivka, and it could be the reason why we previously have a report by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 16th talking about fighting near Svenivka. Remember, I did mention that there is a possibility that the Russian forces may have expanded their control north of VESELE to cause the announcement of fighting near Svenivka. So now we have our answer. In fact, the advance is indeed in the northern part of VESELE. However, it's not that advanced to be really warrant a mention on Svenivka. However, the Russian forces can attack in that direction and also attack towards Vimka in another angle, and this will then collapse the entire front line. So we'll definitely continue to monitor this region here and see how this develops, whether Russians are able to capture Roselivka, because from this area here right now, Russian forces can now attack from two different directions, and Roselivka will be captured if the Russians are able to attack it from multiple directions. We will definitely wait and see. The battle of Roselivka is upon us, I guess, and we shall see how. In the north of Roselivka, there is a guided artillery strike on the Ukrainian position. That's about it. Over at the Spurny region, there is a geolocation of Ukrainian forces geolocated in the western part of Spurny, signifying Ukrainian control are still around there, but Russian forces are pushing towards Ivano-Darivka and towards Vimka through the railway line, and we'll wait and see. Then we have the debacle over at Bilohorivka. Russian forces are pushing Verkhan-Okayamsky, but no, not important thing around here. Over at the Bilohorivka, Russian Defense Ministry claim that they have captured Bilohorivka completely liberated. That's what they say. However, based on Ryba, the Russian source, they say that they are unable to confirm the capture of the settlement. They say that fighting is still ongoing, and in fact, there is some advance, but no, the dominant heights are still under Ukrainian control. So this is not confirmed. And then the Deep State UA, the Ukrainian side, also said exactly the same thing. They said that the situation in the village did not change significantly. So both the Russian and Ukrainian trusted source, by me, the both open source intelligence, the best of its type, both on both sides, Russian and Ukrainian side, both disputed the Russian Defense Ministry's claim, and DPA's position is also similar. The fact that I have covered the war for so long, such a sudden capture without capturing of strategic positions makes no sense. Russian forces will have to take this quarry region and some of these high grounds in the west, north and the western part of Bilohorivka for Bilohorivka to even be captured. So the Russian forces will have to fight through all this area here first. They can't enter Bilohorivka. It's just not possible because it's just in the low ground, and the Russian forces have to take the entire chalk hill or the chalk quarry. These regions here would take weeks or days to weeks to capture, and the Russian forces clearly are unable to do it for now. It is just such a good defensive position, and the Russians have no means of capturing it. This sudden claim of the capture, of course, immediately I raised my eyebrow when I first read it, and DPA's position is it's not captured, and it's very unlikely that it's going to be corroborated in the next few days, unless the Ukrainians suddenly withdraw from this area here. Yeah, you don't need a lot of men to hold these positions because these are just so good defensively speaking. There is, however, some frontline change, but it's matter of just a tree line. This forest here and this small little valley here has been taken by the Russian forces as they expanded their control. But as you can see, progress is very slow. It's very hard to progress in this area here, especially you have the high ground around here, and then you have open ground in this area here, and you have to move almost a kilometer through open grounds with the enemy looking at you directly from the hills. It's just unlikely, very, very unlikely. So that's all for the Siversk front.